The rain-slicked alley behind the dive bar reeked of stale beer and regret, and that's where Ethan first saw him, curled against the brick wall like a discarded promise, blood trickling from a split lip that somehow made his crooked smile even more defiant. "You gonna stand there gawking, or you gonna help a guy up before the cops roll by?" The stranger rasped, his voice a gravelly hook that yanked Ethan forward without a second thought. In that split-second decision, under the flickering neon of a sign that buzzed last call like a death knell, Ethan knelt in the puddle, extending a hand that would rewrite the fault lines of his carefully fractured world. Ethan's fingers brushed the stranger's palm, rough and calloused from God knows what labor, and it was like touching a live wire, jolt enough to make his heart stutter. He was 28, a mid-level graphic designer in the relentless churn of Brooklyn, where dreams went to die under the weight of student loans and ghosted Tinder dates. Tonight was supposed to be just another numb escape. Nursing a whiskey at O'Malley's after his boss had shredded his latest pitch, calling it derivative millennial bullshit. But here he was, hauling a bleeding enigma to his feet, the guy's lean frame surprisingly solid against his shoulder. "Name's Riley," the stranger muttered as they stumbled toward the street. Ethan's Prius parked crookedly under a street lamp that cast long shadows like accusatory fingers. "And yeah, I know, sounds like a girl's name. Blame my mom. She was on a Tom Sawyer kick." His laugh was wet, pained, but it lit something in Ethan's chest, a spark he hadn't felt since college, when he'd buried his queerness under layers of performative straightness to appease his evangelical folks back in Ohio. "Ethan," he replied, voice steadier than he felt, unlocking the car with a beep that echoed too loudly in the empty night. "And you're welcome, by the way. What the hell happened? You look like you picked a fight with a truck." Riley slid into the passenger seat with a wince, propping his boot on the dash like he owned the place, mud flaking onto the floor mat. "Ex-boyfriend's idea of a goodbye gift. Caught me packing my shit from our place in Queens. Turns out, let's keep it casual, didn't include me finding his grinder history on the coffee table." He wiped blood from his chin with the back of his hand, smearing it like war paint. You don't strike me as the alley rescue type. What's a clean-cut suit like you doing slumming it?" Ethan gripped the wheel, pulling into traffic with the wipers slapping rhythmically against the downpour. "Clean cut?" Yeah, that was the armor button-downs and fade haircuts to blend into the corporate grind, to not give his conservative family more ammo during their obligatory holiday Zooms. Blowing off steam. Bad day at the office. The usual American dream crap. He glanced over, catching Riley's eyes. Hazel, flecked with gold, holding a depth that made Ethan's throat tighten. There was no judgment there, just raw, unfiltered recognition, like Riley saw the cracks Ethan hid so well. They drove in silence for a stretch, the city lights blurring into streaks of amber and red through the rain-streaked glass. Ethan meant to drop him at the nearest ER, but when Riley directed him toward a dingy motel off the BQE, something shifted. "Turn here," Riley said softly, pointing to a flickering vacancy sign that promised no frills, just fluorescent despair. "I can't afford the hospital bill right now. Band-Aids and black coffee'll do." Against every rational impulse screaming stranger danger in his millennial brain, Ethan parked and followed him inside, the clerk barely glancing up from her phone as Riley paid in crumpled 20s. Room 7 was a time capsule of faded glory. Sagging bed, a TV bolted to the wall with rabbit ears, and a window overlooking a parking lot pocked with potholes. Riley collapsed onto the mattress, peeling off his soaked jacket to reveal a faded Metallica tee clinging to his torso, tattoos snaking up his arms like whispered secrets. Anchors, roses, a compass rose pointing nowhere. Ethan hovered awkwardly by the door, hands shoved in his pockets. "You need ice or something? I can run to the vending machine." Riley's grin was lopsided, charming in its ruin. "Sit down, man. You're making me nervous," pacing like a caged wolf. He patted the bed beside him and Ethan, God help him, obeyed, the springs creaking under his weight. Up close, Riley smelled like rain and cheap cologne, with an undercurrent of something earthier, like pine from upstate trails. "Thanks for this. Seriously. Most guys would have peeled out after one look." "Most guys aren't idiots," Ethan quipped, but his pulse betrayed him, hammering as Riley leaned in to rummage through a duffel bag, their shoulders brushing. The air thickened, charged with the unspoken. Two men in a motel room at 2 a.m., both carrying the invisible scars of loving in a world that still flinched at the sight. Riley pulled out a first aid kit pilfered from who knows where, dabbing antiseptic on his lip with a hiss. Ow, fuck. You ever get your ass handed to you by someone you thought you loved? Feels like betrayal's got teeth. Ethan swallowed, the word loved hanging heavy. He'd loved once, or thought he had, freshman year at NYU. A fumbling affair with his roommate that ended in tears and a hasty transfer. Since then, it was hookups and shadows, never names, never mornings after. Yeah, we're close enough. My family's the real kicker. They'd rather I was straight and miserable than this. He gestured vaguely at himself, at Riley, at the chasm between who he was and who they wanted. Riley's eyes softened, the gold flecks catching the lamplight. The classic American family trap. Mine's no better. Dad's a trucker who thinks fag is still a punchline. Mom's checked out since the divorce. But hey, at least we've got New York. City of broken hearts and billion-dollar egos. He capped the antiseptic, tossing it aside, and for a moment, they just sat there, the rain pattering like hesitant applause. Then Riley turned, fully, his knee knocking Ethan's. Tell me something real, Ethan. Not the office bullshit. What's the one thing you'd change if you could hit rewind? The question landed like a gut punch, peeling back layers Ethan had duct-taped shut. He thought of his sterile apartment in Williamsburg, the sketches hidden in drawers. Bold, queer art his boss would never greenlight. Of the rainbow pin he'd bought last Pride and never worn. I'd stop hiding. Come out to everyone, consequences be damned. Live like I mean it. Riley nodded slowly, a reverence in his gaze that made Ethan's skin hum. Brave shit. Me? I'd go back to that summer in the Adirondacks. Tell that kid staring at the lake that it's okay to want what he wants. No shame in it. His voice dropped, intimate. You know, you're the first person I've told about the ex tonight. Feels lighter. Saying it out loud. Ethan's breath caught. This was dangerous territory, vulnerability in a vacuum, where one wrong word could shatter the fragile bridge they'd built. But Riley's hand found his. Tentative, warm, and Ethan didn't pull away. Then keep talking, he whispered. I've got all night. And so they did. Words spilled like the rain outside. Riley's tales of drifting from job to job, bartending in dive bars, hauling lumber in the Catskills, chasing a photography dream deferred by poverty's iron grip. Ethan's confessions of creative suffocation, the fear that his queerness made him too risky for the ad world. Laughter wove in, sharp and healing. Riley mimicking his ex's nasally whine. Ethan recounting his disastrous attempt at drag karaoke. Hours blurred, the motel clock ticking past 4 a.m., until Riley's head lolled against Ethan's shoulder, exhaustion claiming him mid-sentence. Ethan watched him sleep, the rise and fall of his chest a quiet rhythm against the storm's fade. This stranger, Riley, with his battered soul and unyielding spark, had cracked him open in ways no therapy session ever had. As dawn crept in, painting the room in hesitant pinks, Ethan slipped out a business card, scribbling his number on the back. Call me when you're not bleeding, he wrote, a smile tugging at his lips. Driving home through streets slick with memory, Ethan felt the shift, a seismic realignment. One night, one conversation, and the man who'd mastered invisibility glimpsed a horizon where he could stand tall, unapologetic. Little did he know, Riley's ghosts were just waking up, and the road ahead twisted sharper than he'd ever imagined. But for now, in the rear view, the motel shrank to a pinpoint, a beacon in the dark. The text came at noon, jolting Ethan from a client call where he'd been doodling abstract waves. Subtle nods to ocean tattoos he'd imagined on Riley's skin. Bandages holding. Oh, you a beer. O'Malley's 8 are simple, unadorned, but it sent a thrill skittering down his spine. Equal parts anticipation and alarm. He typed back, "You're on. No more alley fights?" and hit send before doubt could intervene. His screen blooming with a thumbs-up emoji that felt like a wink. By evening, Brooklyn buzzed with its usual frenzy. hipsters clutching oat milk lattes, delivery bikes weaving like kamikaze pilots. Ethan traded his work slacks for jeans and a Henley that hugged his frame just enough to feel bold, not desperate. He told himself it was casual, two guys grabbing drinks, but the mirror lied. His eyes held a hopeful glint he hadn't seen since boyhood crushes on baseball captains. O'Malley's was packed, the jukebox crooning Springsteen as if channeling Ethan's inner turmoil. Riley was at the bar, nursing a pint. His lips scabbed over but smile intact, brighter, even under the amber glow of pendant lights. He spotted Ethan and waved him over, sliding a stool free with his foot. "You clean up nice," Riley said, clinking glasses without preamble. "To midnight miracles." Ethan laughed, the sound loosening the knot in his chest. "To not getting mugged in alleys." They fell into easy rhythm, beers flowing as stories deepened. Riley spoke of his Polaroid camera, a beat-up relic from his grandfather, capturing the raw shit, the way light hits a face when it's cracking open. Ethan shared sketches on his phone, abstract portraits laced with queer subtext, silhouettes embracing against cityscapes, hands intertwined in defiance of shadows. "You're good," Riley murmured, scrolling with genuine awe. "Like publish a book good. Why hide it under corporate fluff?" The question stung, but Riley's tone held no pity, only challenge, the kind that ignited rather than scorched. "Fear mostly. My folks, they're from that Bible Belt stock where love like ours is a sin wrapped in rainbow flags. Last Christmas, my sister cornered me, 'Ethan, you're 30 soon. Find a nice girl, settle down.' As if I hadn't spent years choking on the lie." Riley's jaw tightened, empathy etching lines around his eyes. "I get it. My ex, Jake, he was all charm until the closet door stuck. Promised we'd go public after his promotion. But nah, better to keep me as the dirty secret while he networked with the brothers." He drained his pint, signaling for another round. "That's why I bolted. Can't build on sand." The bars din faded as they leaned closer, elbows brushing on the scarred wood. Ethan's skin prickled at the proximity, a magnetic pull he denied for too long. Riley's laugh was infectious, recounting a botched camping trip where he'd mistaken poison ivy for nature's loofah. Ethan countered with his epic fail at Thanksgiving turkey, turning the bird into a charred omen that had his mom invoking divine intervention. 2 hours stretched to 4, the crowd thinning as last call loomed. Outside, the air had cooled, carrying the faint brine of the East River. They walked aimlessly, shoulders bumping in companionable sync, until Riley stopped under a stoop light, turning to face him. "This feels different, real. You feel it too?" Ethan's heart jackhammered. "Yeah. Terrifying, but yeah." The admission hung, electric, and then Riley closed the gap. Not a kiss, not yet, but a forehead press, breaths mingling in the chill. It was chaste, profound, a seal on the unspoken pact forming between them. Over the next weeks, it bloomed. Coffee runs morphed into gallery hops, Riley's lens capturing Ethan's unguarded moments. Laughing over falafel in the village, sketching feverishly in Central Park as leaves turned crimson. Ethan introduced him to indie bands at Bowery Ballroom, their bodies swaying in the crush, hands finding waists in the dark. Riley crashed at Ethan's apartment, a cozy loft with exposed brick and IKEA regrets. Nights spent on the fire escape, trading dreams under starless skies. "You're my anchor," Ethan confessed one evening, tangled in sheets that smelled of them both, Riley's head on his chest. No rush to labels, just presence. Lazy mornings with diner bagels, evenings debating Scorsese films until dawn. Riley's touch was reverent, mapping Ethan's freckles like constellations, whispers of beautiful against collarbones that made Ethan believe it. But shadows lingered. Riley's phone buzzed incessantly with unknown numbers, silenced with a flick of his thumb. "Work stuff," he'd say, vague, eyes clouding. Ethan pushed it down, chalking it to post-breakup paranoia. His own world brightened. A bold pitch at work, infused with Riley's influence, earned a rare nod from his boss. "Edgy haze. Keep that fire." He even wore the rainbow pin to a team lunch, heart in his throat, met with awkward shrugs that felt like victory. Thanksgiving loomed, a specter from Ohio. Ethan agonized over the Zoom call, Riley's hand steady on his knee as pixels rendered his family's strained smiles. "Proud of you, son," his dad grunted, eyes on the screen like it might bite. His mom cooed over pie recipes, sidestepping the elephant. When Ethan mustered, "I've met someone special," the line crackled with silence. "A girl?" his sister probed, hopeful. "No, Mom. A guy. Riley." The fallout was swift. "Hang up. A text barrage. Praying for you. This phase will pass." Riley held him through the sobs, murmuring, "They're wrong. You're enough." It was love, raw and uncharted, stitching Ethan's frayed edges. But love, Ethan learned, had teeth of its own. The unraveling began subtly, a Friday night when Riley vanished mid-text. Grabbing smokes, back soon. Hours ticked by, Ethan's calls to voicemail. Panic clawed as he paced the loft, imagining alleys and exes with fists. At 3 a.m., the door creaked. Riley, disheveled, reeking of smoke and something sharper, metallic. "Sorry, babe. Old buddy needed a ride." "All good." Ethan searched his face, finding evasion in the hazel depths. "You scared me. Talk to me. What's going on?" Riley deflated, sinking to the couch. "Jake. He's persistent. Showing up at jobs, leaving voicemails. Says he made a mistake, wants me back." The words twisted like a knife, jealousy flaring hot in Ethan's gut. "But I told him no. You're it for me." Relief warred with doubt, but Ethan pulled him close, choosing trust. "Then block him. We're in this." Riley nodded. Fierce. "Promise." Yet the buzzes persisted, Riley stepping out for calls that stretched too long. Ethan buried it in their rhythm. A weekend getaway to the Hudson Valley, hiking trails where Riley's camera clicked like heartbeats, capturing them against autumn blaze. "This is us," Riley said, framing a shot of Ethan mid-laugh, wind-tousled. "Unbreakable." Back in the city, Ethan's career surged. A freelance gig for a queer mag, his art front and center. Pride banners, intertwined hands, raw American defiance. Riley beamed at the reveal party, toasting with cheap champagne. "Knew you had it in you." But that night, as confetti settled, Ethan's phone lit with an anonymous text. "Ask your boy about the loans. He's not who you think." Attached, a grainy photo, Riley, arguing with a suited man in a shadowed lot. Cash exchanged furtively. Ethan's world tilted. Betrayal's first whisper, cold as winter wind. The photo burned in Ethan's pocket like contraband, a talisman of doubt he couldn't discard. He stared at it through brunch the next day. Avocado toast cooling untouched at a Bushwick cafe. Riley across from him, oblivious, charming the barista with a story about a rogue pigeon in Times Square. "Swear to God, the thing dive-bombed my falafel like it had a vendetta." Riley laughed, eyes crinkling, and Ethan forced a smile, the image searing. Who was the man? What loans? He waited until they were home, sprawled on the couch with a Netflix queue mocking their tension. "Riley?" Ethan started, voice steady as he could manage, pulling out his phone. "Got this last night. Explain." Riley's face drained of color, the easy grin fracturing. He snatched the device, thumb swiping frantically. "Shit, Jake. This is him, twisting knives 'cause I won't crawl back." But his eyes darted, the lie thin as the space between them. "The cash, Riley. The loans. Talk." Silence stretched, taut as a bowstring. Riley set the phone down, hands trembling. "Okay, fine. It's not what it looks." "Then what is it?" Ethan's voice cracked, hurt bleeding through. "We've built this on real. Don't bullshit me now." Riley exhaled, raking fingers through his hair. "Gambling. Started in college, dumb bets on Knicks games to feel alive. Jake knew, bailed me out once, held it over me like a leash. After the breakup, I spiraled. Owed some guys in Queens, sharks, not mobsters, but close. The pick? Me paying interest, buying time." The confession landed like rubble, burying Ethan's trust under debris. "And you didn't tell me?" We could've. What? Handed you my mess. Riley's eyes glistened, defiance warring with shame. You're finally breaking free, Art. Family calls, that glow you get sketching. I didn't want to drag you under. Ethan stood, pacing the loft's confines, art supplies mocking from shelves. That's not your call. Love means sharing the dark, not hiding it like some toxic secret. Memories flashed, forehead presses, Hudson hikes, Riley's camera lens framing hope. Now tainted, every touch a potential lie. I was handling it, Riley pleaded, rising to bridge the gap. Got a side gig shooting weddings, steady cash. One more payout and I'm clear. Weddings? Ethan barked a laugh, bitter. With your ex playing puppeteer? How deep does this go, Riley? Drugs? Worse. Riley recoiled as if slapped. Fuck you. I've never touched that shit. It's debts, Ethan. Poverty's gift to guys like me. Raised on ramen and pull yourself up lies. Tears tracked his cheeks, raw. You think I don't hate it? Waking up knowing I'm one bad roll from losing everything. Including you. The vulnerability pierced Ethan, guilt twisting with anger. He wanted to hold him, erase the photo with denial. But betrayal's poison spread. Every buzzed call, every evasive glance replayed in HD. I need space. To think. Riley nodded, broken. I'll crash at the motel. Call when you're ready. He grabbed his duffel, the door clicking shut like a guillotine. Alone, Ethan unraveled. He called his sister first, voice shaking over the line. It was going so well, Jess. Then this. She listened, the Ohio twang soft with unjudged empathy. A first. People screw up, Ethan. But hiding? That's fear talking. Yours or his. Her words lingered, a mirror to his own closets. Days blurred into a haze. Work sketches gone abstract, slashes of red for rage. He stalked Jake's profiles. LinkedIn polish hiding venom. Posts boasting fresh starts with gym selfies. A DM blast. Leave Riley alone, or I go public. Petty, but it felt like armor. Riley's texts came sparse. Miss you. Working doubles. Clean slate soon. Ethan read them in the dead of night. Thumb hovering over reply. Heart a battlefield. He wandered their spots. O'Malley's now hollow. The fire escape, cold without Riley's warmth. Pride's rainbow pin felt heavy. A reminder that love's colors included bruises. The climax crashed on a sleety December eve. Ethan trudging home from a late critique. Mind-churning scenarios. His building loomed, lights winking mockingly, until he spotted the figure huddled on the stoop. Riley, drenched, duffel at his feet. A manila envelope clutched like a lifeline. Ethan, he croaked, standing as the door swung open. Don't say anything. Just read this. He thrust the envelope forward, contents spilling. Paid receipts, bank statements stamped cleared. A letter from a counselor, Riley J. Harlan, admitted to Debtors Anonymous, December 1st, 25. I've been going every night, Riley said, voice fracturing. Jake cornered me tonight. Tried to pay off the last bit himself, buy his way back in. I told him to fuck off, handed him the cop's card instead. It's over. All of it. Ethan's throat burned, the papers trembling in his grip. Why now? Why not sooner? Riley stepped closer, rain dripping from his lashes. Because I love you, and love's not hiding. It's fighting clean. I was scared you'd see the wreckage and run. But losing you? That's the real debt I can't pay. The words shattered the dam. Ethan surged forward, enveloping Riley in a crush of coats and desperation. Sobs mingling with sleet. I thought I'd lost you to lies. To him. Never, Riley vowed, lips brushing Ethan's temple. You're my compass. They stumbled inside, shedding wet layers, collapsing into each other on the rug by the radiator's glow. No grand gestures, just truths laid bare, wounds cauterized by honesty. As snow dusted the window, Ethan whispered, We're not perfect, but we're real. Riley's laugh was watery, relieved. Damn right. Now about that fresh start. But fresh starts, Ethan knew, carried echoes. Jake's shadow loomed, a final storm brewing. Christmas Eve dawned brittle, the city wrapped in tinsel and tension. Ethan and Riley had patched their fractures with fragile glue. Counseling sessions squeezed between shifts, date nights reclaiming stolen ground. Riley's camera found new focus. Portraits of queer elders in the village, stories of survival etched in wrinkles. Ethan's art evolved too, a series on hidden harbors. Men emerging from fog, hands outstretched, exhibited in a tiny Chelsea gallery to murmurs of raw and resonant. Yet Jake's specter haunted, voicemails escalating to doorstep ambushes. He's unhinged, Riley admitted over eggnog at a friend's tree trimming, his grip on Ethan's knee iron. But I've got a restraining order queued. We're good. Ethan nodded, but sleep evaded him, dreams tangled with accusations and alley reins. His family extended an olive branch, a neutral zoom, his mom's voice tentative. We're trying, honey. For you. Progress, incremental as snowflakes. New Year's loomed, a canvas for reinvention. They planned a quiet escape. Rooftop party in Dumbo, skyline fireworks as witnesses. But fate, that capricious director, scripted a twist. As dusk bled into night, Ethan's phone shattered the prep. His sister, hysterical. Ethan, Dad collapsed, heart attack. Hospital in Columbus. Come home. The drive to LaGuardia was a blur. Riley's hand his anchor through security's snarl. I'll hold the fort, Riley said at the gate, kiss fierce against the bustle. Tell them I said hi. And Ethan, you're braver than you know. Ohio welcomed him with flatlands and frost, the hospital a sterile hive. His dad lay pale in ICU, monitors beeping like hesitant Morse. Son, he rasped on waking, eyes clearer than Ethan remembered. Heard about your friend, Riley. Pause, laden. Your mom and I, we talked, prayed. It's not easy, but love's love, right? Even if it's not what we pictured. Tears stung, Ethan's hand finding his dad's. Rough, familiar. Yeah, Dad, it is. Jess hugged him later, whispering, he's trying. For you. Forgiveness bloomed, tentative, a humanistic thaw in frozen ground. Back in New York 3 days later, Ethan craved Riley's orbit. But the apartment echoed empty. Riley's duffel gone, a note on the counter. Had to handle Jake solo. Love you. Back soon. Dread coiled as hours stretched. Ethan's calls unanswered. Midnight struck, fireworks blooming distant. When the door flew open. Not Riley, but Jake, wild-eyed, reeking of bourbon. Where's he at? That lying sack. Owes me more than debts. He lunged, wild, but Ethan sidestepped, grabbing a lamp like a bat. Get out. Ethan snarled, voice steel. He's done with you. Jake laughed. Manic. Done? I bankrolled his ass, loans, gigs, everything. And now he ghosts for you. Revelation twisted. Not just debts, but enablers. Jake's help a web of control. Riley's escape a severing Ethan hadn't grasped. Sirens wailed outside, Riley's doing, a 911 from the lobby. Cops hauled Jake away, his curses fading to cuffs. Riley burst in moments later, breathless, envelope in hand. Final order served. I couldn't let him near you. Not on our night. They collapsed together, fireworks painting their skin in bursts of color. You fought for us? Ethan murmured, tracing Riley's jaw. Alone. Riley's eyes shone. No more solos. Team from here. Dawn brought resolutions, not grand gestures but quiet vows. Joint therapy. Financial plans sketched over coffee. Riley's camera chronicling there. After series, tender, triumphant. Ethan's exhibit sold out. A queer collector snapping up harbors. With a nod, hits home. Spring unfurled, and so did they. Pride march hand in hand. Rainbows no longer pins but banners. Ethan's family visited. Awkward barbecue in the park. His dad clapping Riley's shoulder. Heard you're handy with a grill. Teach me? Laughter bridged gaps, humanistic in its imperfection. 1 year on, that midnight alley revisited. Not in regret, but ritual. They parked nearby, Riley's new Nikon clicking as Ethan traced the brick. Here, Ethan said, where a stranger became home. Riley pulled him close, kissed soft under neon's hum. And a conversation became forever, in America's vast, flawed tapestry, where love bent but rarely broke. They wove their thread, dramatic, scarred, unyieldingly romantic. Not flawless, but whole, human,